We're talking about Revelation chapter 12. So today, we're going to pull back that curtain on its powerful symbolism to really understand the epic unseen war it claims is shaping our world right now.
So what's this chapter really all about? I mean, it's not just some far-off prediction of the future. You got to think of it more like a symbolic flashback. It's like the text itself says, it pulls back the curtain to reveal the underlying cosmic spiritual war that drives all of history. It's basically a new lens to see the hidden drama behind all the world's conflicts.
All right, let's set the stage. Act 1 is all about introducing the key players in this cosmic drama.
Okay, first up, we meet the woman. And wow, the symbolism here is just incredibly rich. That crown of 12 stars, that's not random. It's a direct callback to Joseph's dream way back in the book of Genesis, where the sun, moon, and stars represented the patriarchs of Israel's 12 tribes. So this means she primarily symbolizes the nation of Israel, the people who would bring the Messiah into the world. But by extension, her meaning expands to represent the entire community of God's people.
Next on stage is the male child, and honestly, his identity is pretty unmistakable. The text says he is destined to rule all nations with a rod of iron. Now, if you know your stuff, you'll recognize that. It's a direct quote from Psalm 2, a well-known messianic prophecy. So there's no doubt here, this is all about Jesus Christ, placing him at the very heart of this conflict.
And of course, every great drama needs a villain. Enter the Great Red Dragon. And the text doesn't make us guess who this is. Nope, it flat out tells us he's Satan. Those 7 heads and 10 horns, think of that as his claim to absolute political power and his influence over all the earthly empires and governments that stand against God. He's the ultimate power behind the scenes.
So, we've met the cast. Now, Act 2 brings us to the pivotal moment, the turning point. This is the decisive victory in heaven that completely changes the rules of the game.
So you've got this scene, right? The dragon is literally waiting to devour the child the moment he's born. But then, bam, something incredible happens. The child is snatched up to God. Now this isn't just some lucky escape. This is a powerful symbol for Christ's resurrection and his ascension to the throne of heaven. And that one move, it's the knockout blow. It completely foils the dragon's entire plan.
And get this, Christ's victory on earth sets off this immediate chain reaction up in heaven. So he ascends to the throne, and that triggers a war. Michael, the archangel, and his forces literally throw Satan out. But what's the biggest consequence? Well, Satan, who's also known as the accuser, he loses his access card to heaven. He can no longer stand before God and condemn believers. His #1 weapon is just gone.
So Satan gets kicked out, and this leads to 2 totally different reactions. Up in heaven, it's a massive celebration. Victory, salvation, God's kingdom has come. But down on earth, it's a completely different story. The cry is one of woe. Why? Because that defeated dragon has been thrown down to our world, and he is furious. He knows his time is short. So you see the paradox, right? Victory in heaven actually means the war on earth is about to get way more intense.
And that right there brings us to Act 3. The dragon lost the war in heaven, so now he focuses all that rage on a new target. The battlefield has officially shifted to Earth.
So what's the dragon's game plan now? Well, he goes after the woman, who at this point in the story really represents the church. But she's given wings of a great eagle, a powerful symbol of God's protection, kind of like how he cared for Israel in the Exodus. So the dragon tries another tactic. He unleashes this flood from his mouth. And no, we're not talking about literal water here. This flood is a symbol for just an overwhelming torrent of persecution, lies, false doctrines, slander, basically anything and everything he can throw at the church to try and sweep it away.
But he fails. He can't destroy the church as a whole. So, totally frustrated, the dragon narrows his focus. He decides to make war on the rest of her offspring. And the text is super clear about who this is. It's those who keep the commandments of God and hold to the testimony of Jesus Christ. In other words, individual believers are now the direct targets of his spiritual warfare.
Now this all sounds pretty intense, right? But the chapter doesn't just leave us hanging. It actually gives us the exact strategy for victory. This is the central practical takeaway from this whole cosmic drama.
The whole battle plan is laid out in one single powerful sentence. And this isn't about fighting with our own strength. It's a victory won with spiritual power. Here it is. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death.
Okay, let's break that down, because this is so important. What are the 3 keys to victory? First, the blood of the Lamb. What does that mean? It means we have to rely completely on Christ's sacrifice on the cross. That's the very act that got Satan kicked out of heaven to begin with, right? Second, the word of their testimony. That's about boldly and openly proclaiming the truth about Jesus. And third, an unshrinking faith, valuing their commitment to Christ more than their own lives. That's the formula. That is how you overcome.
So, after pulling back the curtain on this incredible cosmic drama, we're left with a really profound question. I mean, if the struggles we see in the world, the persecutions, the big ideological battles, if all of that is just a reflection of this deeper spiritual war, how does that change the way we see the world? And more importantly, how does it change how we see our place in it?